Hey there, you military dogs. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is one of my favourites, if not my favourite anime to date. The story, characters and world are so well realised. The series tackles themes of religion, war, personal grief, and a search for meaning. It can be tragic, action-packed, thoughtful, grotesque and beautiful. I decided to create this guide to break down the 64 episodes and look at these themes in more detail. Brotherhood is the retelling of the 2003 series of Fullmetal Alchemist, but as I understand it, it more closely follows the original manga. I am a fan of the original FMA series, but it tells a different story, and whenever I find the itch to watch Fullmetal, I always find myself coming back to Brotherhood. The show opens with someone chalking a circular pattern into the street, while Fuhrer Bradley and Colonel Mustang are discussing the capture and reference the rising of a young star, Edward Elric, the Fullmetal Alchemist. Ed and Alphonse are on the trail of Isaac the Freezer, a state alchemist that plots to bring an end to Fuhrer Bradley's reign. As a quick note, Führer is a German word for leader and is strongly associated with Adolf Hitler. It is no coincidence that King Bradley is referenced in this way, as we'll later come to find. The episode throws us straight into the action with barely a whisper of what, where or why. The action does introduce a couple of concepts. Isaac has the same circles on his arm guards, which show when he is using his alchemy. We are quickly introduced to the concept of alchemy, which the characters refer to as the laws of alchemy. Isaac seems surprised at first that Ed doesn't need a circle, and then more so when he is unable to hurt him. There is a quick exchange with the first of many jokes about Ed's height.
So, it's not you?
No, I'm his younger brother, Alphonse.
But he's a runt. Oh, yeah, can a runt do this?
He manages a quick escape, and Ed is left explaining to Mustang. In their conversation, he references the state of Ed and Al's bodies. Hughes is the second to mistake Al for the Fullmetal Alchemist, and the boys go to stay with him and his family, quickly establishing Lieutenant Colonel Hughes as a genuinely nice guy. Hughes asks Al to take off his armour, and the boys act a little weird and make excuses for it. Meanwhile, at Central Prison, we find Isaac trying to recruit the Crimson Alchemist, who is locked up there. We get a little more context from Hughes about state alchemists, and the boys reference getting their old bodies back. We see Mustang putting on a glove with a circle imprinted on it, and then we are introduced to...
Is that you, Armstrong?
Indeed! None other!
The show isn't pulling any punches with its use of circles as a symbol. Mustang squares off against Isaac, who escapes and sets the plan into motion. Ed indicates that the alchemy Isaac is using should be outside of his abilities, and they reference a philosopher's stone. Isaac is narrating, much like a villain, but he refers to Bradley's crimes in the Ishval. The boys are on their way to stop him, and in the fight we are introduced to Al's secret. Isaac gives some exposition as to how the boys' situation came to be. Notice how he refers to human transmutation as a sin.
You fools committed the ultimate taboo! You attempted human transmutation, didn't you? Alchemy's one and only unforgivable sin!
We get a flashback of a younger Ed missing a leg and pleading that they give his brother back. Fleeing again, Isaac runs into the Führer himself and he is cut down. The military stop the alchemic reaction and we get to see the Führer with a smile on his face. The episode ends with a mysterious woman and her partner that she refers to as gluttony. For a pilot episode, we are presented with a lot of information and characters. The audience is expected to go along with the events as it moves, and you get a real sense that you've missed something in the episode. So let's start with what we know. We start in a place called Central City, and there's no points there for the naming. Although not expressly stated, it seems like there is a strong military presence run by the Führer. Although his demeanour seems calm and jovial, we see him cut Isaac down like a cold and efficient killer. I don't believe Bradley's title is a coincidence, especially coupled with Isaac's references about the atrocities committed during the war. The world of FMA is fictional, but has strong parallels drawn with our own history. The other piece of world building, strongly established in the pilot, is that of alchemy and the state alchemists. Alchemy is the process of taking something and transforming it into something else. Ed and Isaac talk about the laws of alchemy in this universe. So firstly, the law of equivalent exchange.
You of all people should know great deeds require great sacrifice. Isn't that the law of equivalent exchange?
The second reference is to a taboo.
You fools committed the ultimate taboo! You attempted human transmutation, didn't you? Alchemy's one and only unforgivable sin!
The one sin in alchemy, trying to bring back the dead. Using alchemy as a point of power creates a hard magic system for the show. There are rules to be abided by. It is indicated that one needs a circle and matter to be transmuted. In the case of Isaac, he needs water for his power to work, and has the ability to either superheat or cool it. Each of the alchemists that we meet appear to specialise in a particular form of transmutation, but the same limitations don't appear to apply to Ed and Al. Another core element that is mentioned is that of the Philosopher's Stone. This leads me to the final two parts of this introduction, the mystery. First, of Ed's mechanical arm and Al being a suit of armour, and then of the mystery pair that we see at the end of the episode. All in all, this is a decent start. We get a taste of action, and the world, and a few intriguing mysteries.
Me too.
Starting at a slower pace, the Ulrich brothers are on a train travelling to Lior. They are talking about a priest there that can create things out of thin air. We jump to a flashback of the boys researching the Philosopher's Stone, with Ed in a wheelchair and Al in a suit of armour. We jump further back, seeing the boys with their mother, and then to her passing. The boys decide to unlock the key to human transmutation and dedicate their lives in its pursuit. Ready to begin, the boys bring together the ingredients, including what Ed calls soul data, a drop of blood. Once they begin, there is something ominous about the transmutation circle. The dark, shadowy hands start eating away at Ed and Al. Ed finds himself in a white room confronted by a strange being that claims to be God.
I am called by many names. I am the world. I am the universe. I am God. I am truth. I am all. I am one. And I am also you.
Ed is shown the truth behind the door, and his obsession grows. But as per the law of equivalent exchange, he gives something up for his glimpse of that knowledge. We see that Al is gone, and what Ed is willing to do to bring him back. Back in present day, Hughes hands Mustang a report on McDougal and reference the hell of war. We are snapped back 4 years earlier, but this time from Mustang's perspective. He offers Ed the chance to become a state alchemist, and in return access to the best research materials available. We find out that Winry has lost her own parents and her views on soldiers. After his rehabilitation, we see that Ed can now do alchemy without creating a circle, before fast-forwarding to Ed's exam to become a state alchemist. Bradley seems amused by Ed, and we are shown his lightning speed again. Ed is made a state alchemist and granted the title of Fullmetal. So this is only the second episode, and we have some great reveals and a lot to unpack. The episode serves as information dump on the audience, using the flashbacks to fill in some of the exposition. This is a tried and tested storytelling technique, and though a little bit tropey, it is serviceable to the audience. The boys are looking for an item called the Philosopher's Stone that is said to amplify the user's alchemy. Seeing the state of the boys, it doesn't take a genius to follow their reasoning. Alchemy is treated as both a science that can be learned and has rules, but also acts as a form of magic that can be wielded. The emotional core of the Ulrich brothers, and a key theme in this episode, is that of loss and how we deal with it. Their mum's passing, though tragic, was also ordinary. She contracted an illness, nothing more. Ed refuses to accept this and looks to alchemy to bring her back. It's interesting that the boys believe alchemy can be used to bring someone back from the dead, but didn't consider alchemy to save their mother's life. This may be explained by their youth, but it's just something that I noticed. Ed hates and blames their father for leaving, but his choice to look to alchemy, the very thing that he associates with his father, to save his mother, is telling that his anger is just a veil shrouding the fact that he misses him. Continuing the theme of loss is Winry and her parents, as we find out that they died in the Ishvalan War that was referenced in episode 1. She blames the military for their loss and remains confused as to why it needed to happen. This sorrow regarding the Ishval appears to be shared by the members of the military that have referenced the horrors that they have seen. And this brings us to the other major reveal, that of the truth. Ed and Al's attempt at human transmutation had serious consequences, the loss of their bodies. Determined not to lose the last of their family, Ed uses alchemy to bond Al's soul to a suit of armour. This scene heavily ties alchemy to something more than science. There is a god, or something else. He appears to be the keeper of the Gate of Truth and its secrets, but he also claims to be Ed. Etched on the door appears to be the Tree of Life. This is found in many religions throughout the world. In the Book of Proverbs, the tree is associated with wisdom. In the Book of Genesis, there is another tree, the Tree of Knowledge, of good and evil. After Adam and Eve ate the fruit from this tree, they were ejected from the Garden of Eden. At this point in the show, the relevance of the tree is unknown. One final thought. Eyes are said to be windows to the soul. When Ed starts the alchemic reaction, an eye appears. The same eye is behind the large stone doors. The attempt to bring back their mum to play God proved to be naive and arrogant. Ed is shown the truth, in effect the meaning of life, but just enough to stoke the fires of desire, but not nearly enough for them to come true.